Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chosen Wisdom, and today we have major updates to deliver to you. There is a major update with Gyökeres. Yes, the Gyökeres situation is changing on a daily basis, and today we learned that Gyökeres is not happy with Sporting Lisbon. Sound check, absolutely fantastic. There you go. Gyökeres is not happy with the situation. He's furious with Sporting, and we on this channel are going to delve into it and discuss and find out exactly why Gyökeres is furious. So we have an update on the Gyökeres situation today. We have updates on the Mbeumo deal. When's it going to happen? How much? We have further updates to give you guys today as well as part of the show. Also today we have learned that Manchester United have sent their retained list of players to the Premier League. We have that list today to show you guys, and we are going to discuss it. What does this list mean? This list of retained players, listen, I've seen the list and almost everyone is on that list. So what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? Does it mean anything? We're going to talk about it today. Also, we're going to talk about an Højlund. There is an Højlund update to deliver to you guys. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave. Inter Milan are interested in Højlund, but we are going to discuss all of that. We also have an Osimhen update. Apparently, he is twerking for Manchester United. As Manchester United fans, do you want Osimhen or do you want Gyökeres? Let me know. We're going to discuss the Osimhen update as well. We're going to touch on the Club World Cup. Apparently, not enough tickets are being sold for the Club World Cup. Personally, I'm over the moon. I do not understand why we need all these additional competitions, but we're going to have a brief conversation about that today. Officially, Thomas Frank has joined Tottenham. It's official now. Deal done. We're going to talk about what that means, what he's going to bring to Tottenham. Even though it's not a Tottenham channel, we're going to have also touch on that today as well, guys. So there is a lot for us to get through. As usual, people, smash the likes, turn on the notifications, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe below. Brand new channel, unfiltered content, a channel where we say what we think, right? We not only say what we think, but we don't just say how we feel, right? We say what we see. We try to use objective measures as much as possible, and we try to engage our critical thinking skills to understand all of this madness. The transfer season has begun, and I'm pretty sure you guys are either tired of it already or there's way too much information going around. So on this channel, we are going to break it down and we are going to discuss it in bite-sized chunks. So without further ado, we are going to talk about Gyökeres. Now, it's been reported on many outlets, Fabrizio Romano, Sky Sports, that Gyökeres is not happy with Sporting Lisbon. Now, the reason why it's been reported that Gyökeres is not happy with Sporting Lisbon is because it was agreed between Gyökeres and Sporting at the start of the season that he would be allowed to leave the club this summer. Not only was it agreed between himself and Sporting, but the fee, even though he does have a release clause, it was agreed that he was allowed to leave for around 50 to 60 million pounds. That was what's agreed. However, it seems as if Sporting have not honoured that agreement and are now looking for more money from Manchester United. It's been reported that Sporting are now looking for at least 60, 70 million pounds rather than the 50 million plus 5 or 6 million pounds in add-ons that they told Gyökeres that they were going to sell him for. Sporting have broken this agreement. They are looking for more, which means Manchester United cannot purchase the player the way they want to purchase the player. They have to now sell to buy him, or just not buy him at all because the fee is too expensive. I think this is true. I believe this story in its entirety. Also, it's been reported that Manchester United are in constant contact with Gyökeres and his camp. That's not really hard to believe. Our manager used to manage him, probably texting him every day, giving him an update in terms of where we are, when we could potentially sign him, so on and so forth. So I believe that the constant dialogue and the updates between the clubs, and especially between Gyökeres and our camp, I believe that. But it's very interesting that once Manchester United have come calling, Sporting Lisbon, apparently according to Gyökeres, are trying to increase the amount of money that they want for him. So I believe that Gyökeres wants to come to Manchester United. I believe the club actually does want to sell Gyökeres, and I also believe that Manchester United want Gyökeres. And because Manchester United is probably the only club that he wants to play for, Sporting know this. There's no other club in for him. There's no other club that he wants to go to. That's what I believe. Now Sporting are going to try to increase the price and get as much money for him as possible. I think this deal does get done. I believe it does, but I do not believe it gets done anytime soon. So, anyone who wants Gyökeres to be sold quickly, anyone who wants Gyökeres to be bought quickly, I do not believe that is going to happen. I think this deal will drag out for the whole summer until potentially Gyökeres kicks up more of a fuss and Sporting lower their demands, or unless we obtain money for the transfers that we want to make. We need to sell. We need to sell. And unless we sell and get good money for certain players, I do not believe we will get Gyökeres. So there are a few conditions that I believe that Manchester United are looking for. They're looking for the fee to be reasonable, which at the moment, Sporting are not making the fee reasonable. They are waiting for transfers for money to come in. At the moment, no player has gone out. And potentially, as we can see, Gyökeres could actually make up a fuss. Not as bad as the fuss that Anthony made up when Anthony wanted to come here. But Gyökeres from his camp could potentially start pushing for this move. So, let's keep an eye on this, guys. Let's keep an eye on this. I know not everybody is happy with the fact that we're in for Gyökeres. Some people want an Osimhen. That's fine. But this is the player the manager wants. And this is the player the club now wants. We just now need to agree on the fee and on the structure of the fee. So, still good news. We're in regular contact, but I do not believe this deal happens anytime soon. There's also news that he has removed Sporting Lisbon from his bios. Now, I went to check this out, guys, and he's not only removed Sporting Lisbon, he's removed everything. So I don't want us to look too much into that because it seems as if he's angry, he's annoyed, and he's removed all mentions of his sponsors and everything else from his bio, not just Sporting. However, it is still significant. I believe we're still the front runners for him. He wants to play with his old manager and he wants to come to Manchester United. Also, I also want to mention the fact that Amorim has been asked many times this season about Gyökeres. And I remember somebody asking Amorim about the lack of Champions League football and how or if he's going to attract certain players like Gyökeres. And I remember Amorim saying, if players only want to come to Manchester United because of Champions League football and they do not want to come to the club because they love the club or they want the club to succeed or they want to help the club, then he doesn't want that kind of player. And I believe that Gyökeres, I believe that was a message to Gyökeres. I believe so. So, like I said, stay tuned, be patient. I think this deal will happen. It just will take time. That's it. So, that's the Gyökeres situation, people. Let's quickly talk about Mbeumo. Now, there isn't a big update on the Mbeumo situation, apart from the fact that, once again, talks continue between the two clubs regarding Mbeumo. The issue at the moment with the Mbeumo deal is the structure of the deal. I believe that matching the fee or meeting the fee that Brentford want would not be an issue. I do not believe Brentford or Manchester United are going to go anywhere near £70 million. I believe Brentford will accept up to 60 million total fee. The issue right now is how Manchester United are going to organise and arrange that fee. United cannot afford to splash £50 million outright with £5 million add-ons. They can't do that. So Manchester United are trying to structure the fee in a way that they can make more signings this year. Something like 20 million this year, 20 million next year, and 50 million or another 20 million in add-ons. Something along those lines. They're trying to make the fee upfront as less as possible so they can go on and do further deals. While Brentford, as you can imagine, they are looking for the higher fee, the highest fee or the highest initial fee possible. So I think that is where we are with the Mbeumo deal. We are working on the structure of the deal. That is what the holdup is. Little is expected today regarding Mbeumo. I do not expect a here we go today at all. Today's the last day of this first transfer window. The transfer window opens up again next week, and I believe we will get more information next week. Regarding the transfer window, just because it closes in theory today, it doesn't mean that teams are going to stop talking. It doesn't mean teams are going to stop negotiating. It just means you can't sign, you can't put a player forward, you can't register a player until the window opens again. But I say that a player can only officially join Manchester United from the 1st of July anyway. So even though we've announced Cunha can only start training for Manchester United from the 1st of July. So either way, you can argue none of this matters. None of this matters. But it is what it is. So that's Mbeumo. We still need to talk about the retained list that Manchester United have sent to the Premier League. We still need to talk about the Højlund update to Inter Milan. Osimhen update. Apparently he wants to come to Manchester United. And like I said, we are going to touch on the Club World Cup and potentially have a conversation about Thomas Frank finalising his deal to Tottenham. So, the retained list. Let's talk about the retained list that Manchester United have sent the Premier League. On the screen is a retained list. On the screen, you can see the list of players that Manchester United have submitted to the Premier League that they are going to retain. And if you see on the list to my right, every player that we potentially might sell is on that list, is on that retained list. From Sancho to Anthony to Rashford to Garnacho. So, if these players that Manchester United are looking to sell are on this retained list that's been sent to the Premier League, what is this retained list all about? What does it really mean? I know a lot of United fans are concerned that they see certain players on this list. And what I will say is, it's just a list. That's what I'll say. This is a snapshot in time. This is saying these are the players out of contract now. These are the players in contract now. That's all it shows. It doesn't show the intention to want to sell players. It doesn't show the intention to want to buy players either. It just shows the current squad, the current players under contract, and the current players that are no longer under contract. So, that being said, I do not want any United fans to be worried or concerned about this list at all, because I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. I believe the club has a plan. Eriksen and Evans, Lindelof, the likes of those players, their contracts have run out. We know the likes of Nacho, Rashford, Sancho, Anthony. We know those players are constantly being named as outgoings, and we know the club want to sell those players. So, in conclusion, this list has been submitted to the Premier League, but I wouldn't be focused or concerned or worried about this list at all. It's just very interesting. It's very interesting to see how many players that we have. Some of these players are clearly squad players, clearly reserve team players, under 21 players potentially. And there is a lot of players. So, yeah, let's not be concerned. Players are still going out. I always say on this channel, outgoings are just as important as ingoings. It's one thing that United don't really do well and haven't done well for their managers is get rid of players that they don't want. Then we're not really good at selling players, often because players are on really big contracts, getting paid a lot of money, and they don't want to go anywhere. If they go anywhere, as you can see from Sancho, no matter where Sancho goes, no one's going to be offering him 250 grand a year. Probably not. That's why he's still here. That's why Rashford is still here. We pay astronomical wages to some players that are average. And that's a mistake that we've made. And that's the reason why we're in this situation. So, it's a very interesting list. You guys can check it out on the Manchester United website. But like I said, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that list. Now, that actually leads me perfectly on to the Højlund conversation. Now, as many of you know, Inter Milan have been speaking to the Højlund camp. They are in contact with the Højlund camp. They are monitoring the situation and they are interested in this player. That is official. However, the news today, as you guys can see on the screen, is that Højlund does not want to leave Manchester United. I do not know what you guys feel about that. Me personally, I think Højlund should leave. If I could go to Manchester in a minibus and pick him up and drive him anywhere near the shore, I would do that. And I'll put him on a dinghy, give him a little paddle, and I'll tell him to row somewhere. I think Højlund is one of the worst strikers that we have bought. He's just as bad. He's up there with Bebe. He's up there with Bebe in terms of how bad he is at football. I think that he needs to leave. I think Gyökeres needs to wear his number 9, the number 9 that he's wearing. If he stays, I still want Manchester United to strip him of the number 9 and give it to Gyökeres. I believe that he could potentially leave on loan, which is a worry. I'm worried that he could leave on loan because a loan deal usually increases someone's fee. They usually perform well on loan. Other clubs see them perform on loan, and that can increase the demand for that player. I don't know if that's going to happen with Højlund. I think the best bet and the best thing for Manchester United to do is to sell him. Not to send him on loan, but to sell him. And it's quite interesting because I see on screen at the moment, you can see on screen at the moment that in just one season, Gyökeres has scored more goals than Højlund has his whole career. And I want to repeat that because I don't think you guys understand what that means. In one season, Gyökeres has scored more goals in one season than Højlund has in his whole career. When I said to Manchester United fans on this channel many times that we should have never got Højlund. Højlund is not a striker. He's never been a striker anywhere. He's never been prolific anywhere he's been. He's never scored goals anywhere that he has been. So why the hell do we expect to buy him and for him to start scoring goals in the most demanding league, playing for the most playing in the most pressured environment for one of the most demanding clubs in the world when he's never done it in his life? I've said it many times. Højlund, you can tell he has never scored goals. Even in the youth team, when he was a youth footballer, he wasn't a goal scorer. So where do we get this idea that this guy was a striker for Manchester United and a goal scorer? The signing of Højlund is one of the worst signings that we have made in recent history. And that stat on screen is absolutely diabolical. One more time. In one season, last season, Gyökeres has scored more goals just last season than Højlund has in his whole career. I don't think people understand what that means. I don't think people understand what that means. So, in terms of Højlund, he wants to stay at the club and he wants to fight for his place. Guys, let me know. Comment below if you want Højlund to stay. Let me know why. If you think he should leave, let me know why. Personally, like I said, get rid, take the money, move on. If Xerxes leaves before Højlund does, oh my gosh, there's no way. There's no way Xerxes can leave before Højlund does. So that's the Højlund situation. Inter Milan still talking with him. Potential move there. He wants to stay, but I think the club wants to sell, and I think the club will sell. Whether it's send him out on loan with an obligation to buy, or an outright sell, I don't know. But I think his days are numbered. So that's the Højlund situation. There's no updates on Xerxes. I saw some talk, some chat about Italian clubs wanting Xerxes, and to be honest, all summer and even in January, we heard that Italian clubs are looking at Xerxes and wanting Xerxes. Xerxes is a baller. He can actually play football. So if Manchester United do ever sell Xerxes, there'll be a massive list of suitors. There'll be a massive list of clubs wanted to sign him. And that's true because he can play football. If United get rid of Xerxes, it would be a mistake. That kid has a lot to offer. So no real updates on Xerxes, thank God, from my perspective, because I do not want him to leave. But there is an update on Osimhen. Let me know, guys, what you think of Osimhen. Out of Osimhen and Gyökeres, who are you signing out of the two? Let me know. It'll be very interesting to find out what the community thinks, but because there's news now coming out of not only out of Turkey, but from Italy as well, saying that he'll be open to a Man United move, basically. And this guy, I never, ever expected this guy to come out and say that he'll be open to a Manchester United move, to the point where he's almost twerking for Manchester United right now. He's already rejected a Saudi move. He's already on loan in Turkey from his parent club. Many people are talking about the fact that he's a mercenary and he only wants the money. But then again, if he only wants the money, why did he reject Saudi? Then there are people saying that he wants the money not from Saudi, but he wants the same. He wants the Saudi money, but in the Premier League. He's not going to get that at Manchester United. So if it is true, I don't know if this is true. I usually give my opinions, and my opinions are normally correct, and I don't know if this is true. I believe that he is probably using Manchester United for whatever reason. I think Gyökeres is our first and most important forward signing this season. I think he's our first and major priority. I don't believe the Victor Osimhen is a priority. But if Victor Osimhen became available, people, what are you saying to me? Are you going for Osimhen or are you going for Gyökeres? Let me know, guys. Please comment below. But that is basically the Osimhen update. He apparently wants, or at least he's interested in Manchester United. Apparently he's dreaming of a move to Manchester United. So I don't know, guys. Let me know about that one. Let's move on and quickly mention the Club World Cup. Now, it's new news to me, but apparently tickets are not being sold. People are simply not interested in this Club World Cup competition. And I've said many times that FIFA, UEFA, these organizations, they just want money. They don't care about the players at all, really. And they will do whatever it takes to keep getting more money, putting on more events, nation leagues, extending the Champions League, and all these things just to recoup, just to get more money. FIFA are seriously concerned about poor fan interest in the Club World Cup and have slashed their ticket prices. Now, growing up, Manchester United used to win Premier Leagues. Manchester United won Champions Leagues. And whenever we qualified for the Club World Cup, even I weren't really interested. Secondly, the Club World Cup competition usually happens around winter time during the season. So about a week or 2 weeks, December time, November time, during the season, clubs will go away and they will perform in a Club World Cup tournament, not in the off season where players are supposed to be recuperating, going on holiday, and where the season is basically finished. We've still got 2 or 3 weeks of football when everyone else has finished and is on holiday. And not only that, the players are returning in August. No, lies. The players are returning in July. So I feel like we just need to be careful with all of these competitions that we're doing, that we're putting the players through, the amount of running, the amount of physicality that the players now have to do compared to previous years. We're seeing players having heart attacks, dropping down on the pitch constantly, and it's becoming a regular thing now. So to hear that the fans don't care about this FIFA Club World Cup thing, good. Bravo, people. Bravo. Finally, the football fan base has united in something that I can agree on as a football fan myself. So, yeah, that's the Club World Cup situation. Let me know, guys, what you think of this Club World Cup situation. If you had free tickets, would you watch the games? Now, that's the honest question. What would you do? Let me know what you guys feel, what you guys think of this situation. Listen, if FIFA say they're losing money, I don't care. FIFA, they make enough money. They've got enough money. How many times have we seen, or we're reading on the news about corruption in football and how corrupt FIFA is? These guys change the rules whenever they want. Listen, I love football, but I do not enjoy the football body and the organization as a whole. I'm not a fan of it. So that's that. Let me know what you guys think of that news, of that update. I'm also going to let's also touch on briefly Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank going to Tottenham is a done deal. It's final. He is Tottenham's new head coach. Tottenham fans are excited. I would be if I was a Tottenham fan, because as a Manchester United fan, Thomas Frank is who I wanted to replace Ten Hag. I think what Thomas Frank has done with Brentford, he's managed to stabilize the football club. He's managed to stabilize a defense, make them hard to beat. He's managed to play a brand of football that is exciting. He's very pragmatic. Like I said, he knows how to attack. Brentford play really good attacking football. And I believe he's a lot more, like I said, pragmatic than Ange. Ange wanted to place a high tempo, high line sort of total football with players that couldn't do that. I don't think Thomas Frank is going to do that. I think Thomas Frank is going to make use of the players that he has at Tottenham and play to their strengths rather than play a system that only he can do. There's multiple ways of being a manager. Our manager at Manchester United only wants to play his system. He doesn't want to play to the strengths of his current team. He doesn't care about the players. He cares about his system, his way, and if you don't fit his rigid system, you're out the door, and he's going to get players that do fit his system. I don't believe Thomas Frank is like that. I think Thomas Frank, like I said, is more pragmatic. He will probably get better I think he'll get more out of the players than Ange does because of his pragmatism, like I said. And I don't think he has a rigid system or a rigid approach to football. He doesn't. He is somebody who I wanted at Manchester United. Every time Brentford played us, I think he spoke well. Anytime Brentford beat us, I think he spoke well, and he's got a Fergie-ness about him. I really think he does. So I am a bit jealous that Tottenham have Thomas Frank. I wanted him. Brentford don't concede many goals, and like I said, I think he will maximise the potential of the Tottenham squad. Now there are some stats on screen about Thomas Frank right now as I'm scrolling, and like I said, Tottenham fans are excited. If he can do what he did with Brentford, with the resources he has at Brentford, then I'm pretty sure in about a year or two, he can get Tottenham into the top 6 and stabilize them as a top 6 club. And that's what I'm worried about. That is what I'm worried about. But we will see. We will see. Only time will tell how good he will become at Tottenham. But that deal is done. Thomas Frank is officially Tottenham's manager. So that is Thomas Frank. So today we had updates on Gyökeres, the Gyökeres situation. As I said before, very, very detailed explanation on what's happened to Gyökeres, where it came from, the whole story from the beginning of the season, what was agreed between him and Sporting. Sporting has gone back on their word like many clubs do. They want more for the player, just like right now Brentford want more from Mbeumo. And both players, Gyökeres and Mbeumo, should I say, both only want Manchester United. They are both pushing to sign for Manchester United. So it's just about a matter of time and patience, guys. That's what I think. I think that this summer could potentially be an amazing summer, an amazing transfer window. If we can get those 2 signings over the line, get another midfielder potentially, and also a goalkeeper, I think we can say that, listen, if Amorim doesn't finish at least in the top 6 after making these potential signings, then he has to go. He has to go. That's what I honestly believe. So That's the Gyökeres situation update. We've also discussed Mbeumo, the Mbeumo deal, and the update in that situation. We've discussed the retained list, the Manchester United retained list that has been sent to the Premier League, the list of players on that retained list and what that means going forward. We've discussed the Højlund situation. Is Højlund going to leave the club? We've spoken about that today. We've mentioned Osimhen, update on the Osimhen situation, and also we've spoken about Thomas Frank joining Tottenham. As a side note, even though that's not Manchester United news, I like Thomas Frank, and I believe he could have been a good manager for Manchester United. We of course have gone a different way. We've got our manager that we have. I'm somebody that now that the manager is staying, I'm willing to give him time. But I think he has used up a lot of goodwill that he could potentially have had. The season that we've just had with this manager, I believe for me, he's used up a lot of goodwill. And if we do not start the season well and finish in the top 6 at least, then I might be hammering out. I might be. Because we are making moves. And if we sign the players that we are all going for, that we all know we want to sign, I don't know how much more excuses we can give this manager. That is where I'm at with Amrim. So let me know, guys. That's the update. I'm looking to see if there are any more updates to give you lot. Okay, so there is breaking news on the screen, guys. There is breaking news. Breaking news. Apparently, according to who? Let's see this quickly. According to who? Okay, so guys, according to ESPN, and this has just been released now as I speak while I am online. And I mean, you might argue this is not news, but the breaking news right now is that Manchester United will prioritize the signing of Mbeumo before the signing of Gyökeres. Personally, that's not really news to me. I think we need the 10. I think we need the right 10 before we need a striker. And the reason why I say that is because with Cunha and Mbeumo, who potentially are goal scorers, I think we can start the season with Xerxes up front. I think Xerxes up front, Cunha on the left, Mbeumo on the right as 10s. That's not a bad front three. If we can get Gyökeres in, good. I will take Gyökeres. But for me, the priority should have always been Mbeumo anyway. We started talking to Mbeumo first. We've already put in a first bid for Mbeumo that has been rejected. So ESPN releasing news that we are prioritizing Mbeumo before Gyökeres. I mean, is that really news? Is it really? Not really. But that just broke, guys. That has just broke. So let me know what you think of that news. Does it matter to you? Because I still believe we will get both. I still believe it. If we sell the players that need to be sold, I believe we will get both of these deals done very, very easily. But yeah, that's that for you. Let me just quickly see if there's anything else online. Any other breaking news online? Okay, so Guys, there is more breaking news. See, this is what happens when you're live and just looking for news. So, as you guys will see on screen very, very shortly, breaking news, breaking news. I have no idea what that is. But anyway, breaking news. Napoli are now apparently looking for 60, how much? 63 million pounds for Osimhen. Now, the reason why that's interesting me is because that's similar to what Sporting are asking for Gyökeres. Now, Manchester United are apparently seriously looking at the deal, and Napoli want Joshua Zirkzee, as part of any deal for Osimhen. Let me know what you guys think about that. That is crazy. I like Zirkzee. And one of my issues with Manchester United Football Club is that we love selling the better players before we sell the worst players. And the reason why the better players always go first is because people want the better players. Nobody wants our trash. Nobody wants Højlund. So because nobody wants Højlund, Zirkzee has to go first. And every year we do this, we get worse. We finished 15th last season, and a lot of the reason, one of the main reasons, not the only reason, many reasons why we finished 15th, but one of the reasons for our steady decline is because of that. We sell the players that we can sell, i.e. the players that people want, rather than the players that we don't want. And we're often left with the Lindelofs and the Maguires. We're often left with players that are not good enough, but nobody else wants. So the club has got worse and worse and worse because we sell our better players. We sell the wrong players often. I do not want Zirkzee to go as part of any deal to sign Victor Osimhen. I do not. So do I believe the story? Do I believe that Napoli are trying to offload Osimhen? Yes. Do I believe that Manchester United are looking at Osimhen? Yes. I think every club is looking at Osimhen. Do I believe that they could sell Joshua Zirkzee in a move to tempt Osimhen if it does happen? Unfortunately, yes. I think the manager has shown time and time again this season that he's not a fan of Zirkzee. Whenever he could play Zirkzee was fit, he will always start Højlund. No matter how badly Højlund was playing, if Zirkzee was still fit, Zirkzee will be on the bench. And we saw Højlund start game after game, play trash after trash, rubbish after rubbish. Every word you can possibly use for trash. He was that. But yet we saw Zirkzee on the bench. So I feel like the manager has shown us through his actions, because actions speak louder than words, that he's not a fan of Zirkzee. Why he's not a fan of Zirkzee, I do not know. The only reason why I can think he's not a fan of Zirkzee is because he's not an out-and-out gunman. But neither is Højlund. Højlund wasn't scoring goals. Højlund wasn't offering anywhere near as much as Zirkzee was offering. And that's one of the reasons why I don't mind the fact that this manager is staying, but I'm not a fan of this manager. I'm not a fan of his player profiling. I'm not a fan of how he sees football. I'm not a fan of the fact that he prefers Højlund over Zirkzee. That is crazy to me, and it's scary. It's scary to me. Very, very scary. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And I do not want Joshua Zirkzee to go. But I believe that Man United could consider selling him. I don't think we're going to get Osimhen, by the way. I do not think we're going to get Osimhen, because I think we are going to get Gyökeres. So in that sense, if you're a Zirkzee fan and if you like Zirkzee, there's nothing to worry about. But it's just concerning because it fits with how I perceive the club sees Xerxes. And that's it. So that's breaking news. It's very, very interesting, guys. Let me know what you think about that news. Okay, and we also have even further, we have even more news that is breaking. Now, Manchester United are reportedly rejected the chance to sign West Ham dynamic midfielder Kudus. Manchester United have rejected the chance to sign Kudus from West Ham. It appears that a potential swap deal involving Jadon Sancho fell through as West Ham wasn't keen on taking on the United winger. This means MUFC opted out of a move for a player who's impressed many in the Premier League. That's an interesting story, and it's coming from the Football Brief. It's also coming from Ben Jacobs, who is a tier 1 journalist. Now, I don't know how much sense that makes, because the reason why I say that is because this tweet is making it sound like the deal fell through because West Ham don't want Jadon Sancho. No. That doesn't make sense. West Ham would always want Jadon Sancho. Why wouldn't they want Jadon Sancho? If anything, it's probably Jadon that doesn't want to go to West Ham. That's the first thing I thought. Secondly, I don't think Man United rejected him. I don't think Man United are interested in Kudus. Why? Think about this logically, guys. Why would Man United get Cunha, left 10, Mbeumo, right 10, and then also get Kudus? Kudus, who apparently Chelsea are interested in. I don't believe this story. I don't believe we want Kudus. Kudus is probably a player that we looked at, but the way that this tweet has been written to make people basically hate Jadon Sancho even more. That's one of the purposes of this tweet, to generate more hate on Jadon. So, guys, be careful when I can only tell you what the news is. We can only talk about what's being said, but it doesn't mean that we have to believe what's being said. These journalists are paid by the clubs to say certain things, and often all they do is repeat what they have been told. An agent of a footballer or the club will go to the journalist and say, this deal is not happening because of XYZ. The journalist will listen, take out their laptop, and then tweet reports, this deal is not happening because XYZ. So all they will do is just repeat what they have been told. So take that story, I think, with a pinch of salt. Let me know, though, if you guys believe that story. Me personally, I don't believe that story. I believe that we might have looked at Kudus, might have shown an interest to Kudus, but the fact that any potential swap deal fell through because West Ham don't want Jadon Sancho, it's like, what? Who? What? What? What are you talking? Like, do you know how many clubs in Europe want Jadon? Dortmund. The only reason why Jadon won't leave Manchester United, he will, but the only reason why he might not is because of his wages. Not because Chelsea wanted Jadon, but Jadon wouldn't lower his wages. Dortmund want Jadon, but Jadon won't lower his wages. It's not about the player. I know a lot of people hate Jadon Sancho for whatever reason, and they've got a lot of visceral hate for him because the media, just like Pogba and other players of his type, they have a way of writing stories and conjuring up so much hatred for players. Certain players I see get so much abuse online, and I'm like, why does this player get so much hate while other players get protected? The media is so manipulative in this country. It's insane. When other people from other countries come here, they often talk about the media, the English media. When people talk about how it's hard to play for Manchester United, and I'm like, listen, mate, you don't think it's hard to play for Madrid? You don't think Madrid fans give? You don't think it's hard to play for Barcelona and Inter Milan? Listen, it's the media and the environment that's set in this country. It's so toxic and hateful and hate-filled. It's only a sport. It's only football, but it's absolutely insane what certain players have to go through. And then when they don't succeed at Manchester United, we say they're not good enough or they're not strong enough. Listen, and when they go elsewhere and they ball out and they win Champions Leagues, when I don't know, Sancho reached a semi-final of the Champions League with Dortmund after, one of the best Champions League runs, Champions League performances of any footballer in Champions League history that he had. People still didn't want to give him any credit. They did not want to give him any credit. So I know agendas when I see it. I know agendas when I see it. And there's always some agenda. Always some sort of emotional person trying to offload their anger onto someone else because they've been told that they can. I feel like we need permission, and sometimes the media gives us permission to hate on players and offload all our hatred onto one individual. If Man United are not doing well, we need a scapegoat. We can't blame all the players. We can't blame all. It's easier sometimes to blame one player. This season, it's Onana. Onana's the reason why we lost all 15 games. No. He might have made about 4 or 5 massive errors. That's probably 4 or 5 errors too much. But he's not the reason we lost all the 18 or 15 games we lost. He's not the main reason why we finished 15th. But the media and the fans have given everyone permission to call him a bozo and do all these things. So just be careful, people. Just be careful when you read tweets. Use a bit of critical thinking and try to look at who the journalist is. Sometimes journalists have an agenda. Try to read between the lines sometimes, and not believe everything that we hear, especially transfer season. There's going to be a lot of madness. And yes, I'm here to report the transfers to you guys and report the news that's out there. But like I said, it doesn't mean I'm going to believe all the news that's out there. It would be absolutely stupid of me if I was to do that. So that's that. Other breaking news, guys. Rabiot. We are here again. We are here again with Rabiot. Every summer is Rabiot. I don't remember a summer over the last 5 years that Rabiot's name hasn't come up. Like, what is it? Is he the only midfielder in the world that we can get? Last year we were looking at him. The year before we were looking at him. It's always Rabiot. So apparently, guys, let's talk about what the actual news is from Foot. Let me see. From Foot Mercado. So it's from Foot Mercado, but it's also being reported across a number of platforms. So this is just general news. Manchester United tried to sign Adrien Rabiot last summer. There you go. I don't know if that's news, guys, but apparently we tried to sign him last summer. But the Frenchman preferred the bold and surprising decision of joining Marseille. And that's the news. So that's it, guys. The news is we tried to sign him last summer, but he went to Marseille. Is that news? Do you guys really care about that? Does anybody honestly cares about Rabiot at this moment of time? Do you care if Rabiot came to us last summer or not? I mean, apparently, we went for Ugarte. We signed Ugarte. A lot of people are now saying, hold on a second, we spent £55 million on Ugarte and he's a squad player. He's not good enough to be a first team player. And we, once again, just like Mason, we spent £110 million on 2 midfielders that cannot get into our first team. That's what we did. A lot of people complain about the fact that we don't spend money in all these things. And I'm like, listen, it's not just that we don't spend money. Our decisions have been, we spent £55 million on Mount and 73 on Højlund and another 55 on Ugarte, right? That's £190 million or something on 3 players that do not need to be here. Plus another flipping 85 on Anthony. Like, we constantly buy players that are not good enough or can't make it or fail. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about this Rabiot. Does it matter? Why is this even news? Why is anyone tweeting this right now that Rabiot, United looked at Rabiot last summer, but he joined Marseille? What? This is when you know it's an off season. Football's finished for the season, and there's nothing out there. But I have to report it. It is news. Someone else will talk about it, but there's nothing really to talk about, to be honest. So that's it. Before I go, guys, just want to recap what we've spoken about today and what's happened today, and to summarize everything from the Gyökeres situation with regards to his fee and what Sporting are apparently doing. They're doing him dirty. They promised him something and they're going back on their promise, and they're increasing the amount that they want for him. He is furious, and he will now start pushing for a move. That is what's going to happen. It won't be soon. United don't have the finances, and it's also been reported that we will try to finalize the Mbeumo deal first anyway. So anybody who wants this Gyökeres thing to happen quickly, strap in, people. It is not. However, I strongly believe it will be done. The Mbeumo deal, once again, I strongly believe it will be done. Not right now, but Manchester United are comfortable that both players want to come to the club. We went through the retained list that Manchester United have sent to the Premier League, basically saying that it's a snapshot of time. It's a snapshot of what is currently happening, not what United intend on doing. They intend on moving on a lot of these players in the retained list. They do. But for now, these players are still here. So that's that. We spoke about the Højlund situation, him potentially going on loan, the fact that Inter Milan want him. I think we need to sell him 40 M's. Please take Højlund from us. So we spoke in depth about that. We also touched on Osimhen potentially coming to Manchester United, and Manchester United just observing, just maybe having talks, asking questions about the deal and the potential structure of any deal, showing a little bit of interest. However, I do not believe we sign Osimhen this summer at all. I do not believe that is happening. We also touched on the Club World Cup and the disappointing ticket sales of that tournament, which I'm happy for, because that tournament should be scrapped. It's a trash tournament, personally. So anytime I hear FIFA losing money, because they've been trying to drain the fans' pockets for decades. FIFA don't care about the players. They don't care about us. They just care about how much more money they can make, just like any other business. And they're losing the plot here. I think they're losing the plot. So yeah, boycott the competition, guys. I'm all here for it. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't care about it. But yeah, that's good. When I hear stuff like that, I'm always happy. And also, we touched on Thomas Frank. So that's an update, a roundup of what we discussed on this channel, a roundup on all the major news surrounding Manchester United. There's no other place you can go to get this condensed roundup from the morning, from 8 o'clock to now. Every news, all the news that have happened today, I have given it to you. We've discussed it at length. We've explored it at length, every detail. So I hope you guys are now well informed about what's going on in terms of the transfers and everything else. If you guys have any comments, please comment below. Please subscribe to the channel. We are going to have so many watch-alongs when the season starts. We're going to have so many new shows when the season starts. The channel will keep growing as long as you guys keep interacting and keep engaging with the channel. As usual, thank you guys for tuning in, for watching. Before I go, let's see the conclusion from the poll. Where are we finishing next season? So, top 4, we are cooking, has won with 62% of the votes. Listen, I'm not going to lie. It's very easy for me to sit here, yeah, and get gassed. Fully gassed. But these deals, even though I think they will happen, they're not over the line. And when I say I think they happen, or think they will happen, 70% sure, 80% sure. So yeah, I think they will happen. I'm pretty sure, but that's not a definite. That's not a definite. We all know football. We've seen this before. So unless or until these deals are finalized and that we get over the line, I'm not going to breathe easy. I'm not going to breathe easy. So most of you think we're going to finish top 4. I would say this. We should. If we get these deals done, if we get the players that we are after, we should, in my opinion, finish in the top 4, because we probably have the best attack. I mean, Gyökeres, Cunha, and Mbeumo. Then you're going to have Ahmad as a right wing back. We might still have Dorgu, and I'm fine. I'm fine if we still have Dorgu. But let's just say we upgrade on Dorgu. That's a strong front 5. It is. And if our manager cannot get us into the top 4 or at least top 6, yeah, with that front 5, then he should be fired. So I say we should, caveat, if we get these signings, we should finish in the top 4, as long as the manager doesn't overcomplicate it and doesn't kill these players. I think the manager will have a big part to play. I think, of course he does. He's the manager. And I haven't been impressed with some of his decisions this season. I haven't. I have teetered. I have swayed this season in terms of whether I want him to go or whether I want him to stay. I want him to stay because I want to see him get his own players. I want to see him, get a 200 million, 300 million transfer budget, just like any other manager before him has got. And then I can judge him once he gets his players in. So I want him to stay because of that. However, at the same time, I'm thinking he has done terribly with the players that he currently has. And he can only play his rigid system. He won't adapt. He won't say, do you know what, I'm going to play 4-3-3 today to win the game. He will only play his system. And when a manager only has one way of playing and can only get specific players to play his specific system, that is concerning to me. It's concerning. So that's why I'm in 2 camps. I'm willing to give him a go. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. The club has fully backed this manager. So there's no point in me shouting and screaming, I want the manager out. He's here, so I will back him and I'll get behind him until it's time to not get behind him, until it's time to not back him. Until I've seen enough this season or the season coming up to say, do you know what? No. And if he's not good enough, he'll get sacked. After getting him these players, if he's not good enough, I'm pretty sure Ineos will sack him. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all, guys. But yeah, I hope that we cook this season. The Man United fan base is gassed. Whether you go to the United stand, whether you're on United View, watching Side TV, Football Terrace, I don't know, rants and bants. Whoever you're watching, I feel like the fan base right now, we are there's a lot more smiles. I feel like we're a lot happier. Whether that's because there is no football and we're not watching our team play, because when we watch our team play, it's one of the worst experiences. We play shit football. So, plus, absence makes the heart fonder, right? The less we see of our team, the less we remember of what our team was doing, the more fun we'll become, and we'll start liking the team again. So that's where it is, guys. Comment below, guys. Let me know what you guys think about all of this transfer news. Big up yourself, please. Thank you, everyone, for joining the channel. Listen, I have gone through a lot today. We have spoken about so much today, and the day's not finished. Like I said, I don't think anything will happen for the rest of the day, but who knows? Who knows? If anything happens, I might go live again. But yeah, good show, guys. We went through a lot, and yeah, tomorrow same time we might have another show where we just talk football. Guys. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, comment below, share the video, subscribe, keep the channel growing. Listen, comment in the chat as well. I'm always going to interact with you guys. If you comment in the chat, I will talk to everybody, interact with everybody, answer every and anyone's questions. That's what it's like on the channel. You know, there's no hierarchy here, man. We're all Man United fans, most of us. We're all football fans, and we all want to talk football. So yeah, big up yourself, people. And yeah, enjoy the